My dear friends, pause for a moment. Close your eyes if you wish and think about the biggest weight on your heart today. Maybe it's money, maybe it's health, maybe it's a relationship, or maybe it's that restless voice in your head that won't stop talking. Whatever it is, remember one simple truth. It won't last forever. Nothing does. Neither joy nor pain, neither sunshine nor storms. Life keeps flowing like seasons. Winter never stays, summer never stays. So why drown in worry when change is the only constant? The secret to peace lies in this truth. Don't stress, everything passes. Life is not a straight road. It's not always bright, not always dark, not always easy, not always tough. Think of winter. Cold, harsh, quiet. Trees look lifeless, flowers vanish, the sky turns gray. Many say, this is how it will always be. But nature smiles and whispers, wait, spring is coming. And soon flowers bloom again, birds sing, trees awaken. Our lives mirror these seasons. We all face winters, moments of loss, failure, and heartbreak. We believe they will never end. But just as winter bows to spring, every hardship eventually fades, and the same rule applies to joy. Summer shines, hearts are full, everything feels right, but even summer moves on. Because life is never still. It dances through cycles. When we understand this, two blessings arise. First, pain no longer terrifies us. We say, this too is a season. My heart feels bare, but spring will return, and suddenly hope appears. Second, joy becomes sacred. We stop taking it for granted and begin to enjoy it deeply with gratitude. A king once asked his wise minister for a single line of wisdom to keep him steady in both success and sorrow. The minister handed him a note. The king opened it. Read it. This too shall pass. In loss, it gives strength. In success, it teaches humility. My dear friends, neither your winters nor your summers will stay forever. Life is a flowing river of moments. Peace comes when we accept every season with faith and patience. For life, like nature, is ever moving, ever changing, never permanent. My friends, one of life's most comforting truths is this: pain doesn't last forever, but the growth it brings does. When we suffer, our mind convinces us that the pain will never end. It whispers, you'll always feel this way, you'll never recover. And in that moment, it feels heavier than it really is. But look back at your life. Hasn't every wound healed, every heartbreak softened? Maybe scars remain, but scars are not signs of weakness. They are proof that you survived. Think about a time you failed. An exam, a dream, a relationship. It felt unbearable. You thought your story was over. Yet months or years later, you realized it wasn't. You adapted. You became wiser, stronger, more grounded. The pain faded, but the strength it gave you stayed. The wisdom became part of who you are. A young man once asked his teacher, "Why is life so unfair?" The teacher smiled and placed a potato, an egg, and coffee beans in boiling water. After some time, he took them out. The potato, once firm, had become soft. The egg, once fragile, was now strong inside. And the coffee beans, they had transformed the water into something fragrant. The teacher said, pain is like boiling water. It affects everyone. But how it changes you depends on what you're made of. Some grow weak like the potato. Some become tough like the egg. But the wise, like the coffee beans, transform everything around them. Pain doesn't come to destroy you. It comes to shape you. Without challenges, there is no growth. Without storms, roots don't deepen. Without pressure, coal can't turn into diamond. Every hardship you face is secretly preparing you for tomorrow's strength. So when you are in pain, remind yourself it's temporary. The heaviness will pass. What will remain is your resilience, your wisdom, your maturity. One day, you look back at your struggle and say, that was hard, but it made me who I am. Pain fades, growth stays. When you truly accept this, suffering becomes sacred. Because you'll see it not as punishment, but as a doorway to a stronger, wiser, and more compassionate version of yourself. My dear friends, everyone says they want happiness. But when it comes, we clutch it tightly, hoping it will last forever. Yet joy, like everything else in life, has its own rhythm. And just as pain passes, joy too passes. This is not a sad truth. It's a beautiful reminder. Because when we realize that joy is temporary, we finally learn the art of gratitude. We learn to cherish every moment instead of expecting it to stay. Think about a sunrise. Every morning it colors the sky with gold, yet within moments it fades. Or a rainbow, stunning, magical, but short-lived. Does its short life make it less beautiful? No, it makes it more precious. In the same way, happiness shines brightly for a while and then moves on. It is the fleeting nature of joy that gives it its depth. Too often we take our joys for granted. A loving family, a healthy body, a caring friend, laughter over a meal. We assume they will always be there. But the truth is, nothing is guaranteed to stay. The day we forget this, we slip into entitlement. The day we remember, our hearts become grateful. Gratitude is what turns moments into memories and experiences into blessings. Let me share a story. A king once asked his wise advisor, "Why do you keep telling me to be grateful when I already have everything?" The advisor smiled and led him to a garden full of flowers. "Close your eyes," he said, "and enjoy their fragrance." When the king opened his eyes, the wind had blown many petals away. The advisor said, "Your joy is like these flowers, beautiful but delicate. If you don't appreciate it while it's here, you'll only regret it when it's gone." Gratitude is the act of breathing in the fragrance before the wind carries it away. My friends, joy is not meant to be held forever. It is meant to be experienced deeply when it's here. When you laugh with your child, don't just laugh, feel thankful. When you eat a meal, don't just eat, be grateful for the nourishment. When you sit with someone you love, don't just pass time, cherish that moment as if it may never return. Because one day you'll realize the ordinary days you rush through were actually the happiest days of your life. So the temporary nature of joy is not a reason to be sad, it's a reason to celebrate. Gratitude transforms fleeting moments into lasting treasures. Pain passes, joy passes. But gratitude turns every passing moment into something eternal. When you live with gratitude, even small joys become timeless. Even short moments become infinite in your heart. That, my friends, is how we truly live. My dear friends, one of the biggest mistakes we make when life tests us is that we panic. The moment a challenge arrives, our mind magnifies it tenfold. A small crack looks like an earthquake. A passing storm feels like the end of the world. Panic multiplies pain, not the problem itself. And in that panic, we lose what truly matters: clarity, peace, and faith. But imagine if in those moments you could remind yourself of one truth: no problem is permanent. Even the fiercest storm must move on. The freedom that comes from this awareness is incredible. What feels unbearable today is only a phase, not your forever. A wise teacher once asked his students to hold a glass of water. He said, "How heavy is it?" They guessed 100 grams, 200 grams. The teacher smiled and said, "The actual weight doesn't matter. It depends on how long you hold it. Hold it for a minute, no problem. For an hour, your arm aches. For a day, it feels unbearable. The glass doesn't change. Your endurance does. Problems are like that. The longer you hold them with worry, the heavier they feel. But when you put them down for a while, by calming your mind, you regain strength. Panic traps us inside our problems. Calmness gives us the space to breathe through them. Think of a child who falls and cries as if the world ended, but within minutes he's running again. The pain wasn't permanent. The panic made it seem endless. As adults, we often cry in silence, asking, "Why me?" Forgetting that healing has already begun. Life is like driving through a storm. If you stop your car in the middle of it, you'll stay stuck in the rain. But if you keep moving, slowly, patiently, you'll soon reach the sunshine. Problems are the same. You can't escape them by panicking, but you can pass through them with calm faith. Sometimes panic rises because we think everything must be fixed immediately. But not all problems are meant to be solved at once. Some need time. Just as a seed cannot become a tree overnight, some answers take their own season to bloom. Patience is part of the solution. So when the next storm comes, don't panic. Breathe. Remind yourself, this too shall pass. That single truth can lighten even the heaviest moment. Panic ties you down to the problem, but peace lifts you above it. Remember, problems are visitors, not permanent guests. They come, they stay for a while, and then they leave. How you greet them, with stress or with strength, that is your choice. Stay calm, my friends, because calmness is not weakness, it is quiet power. Life, my dear friends, is not a still pond, it's a flowing river. Every curve, every ripple, every wave invites us to grow, to move forward, to trust the flow. When life feels heavy, don't see it as punishment, see it as motion. You are meant to move, not remain. Don't cling to the past, don't panic at the rapids, And don't hold on to what's meant to drift away. The river knows its direction even when you can't see beyond the bend. Trust that. When we stop resisting, we find peace. When we stop clutching, we find strength. When we flow, we find beauty hidden in the movement itself. Perspective, my friends, changes everything. Life is not about what happens, it's about how we see what happens. The same event can break one person and bless another. The difference isn't the situation, it's the state of mind. Imagine two people stuck in traffic. One curses, another smiles and says, maybe this delay is protecting me. The traffic is identical, but their experience is not. Peace or panic, it's all perspective. There's a story of two shoe salesmen who went to a faraway land. One wrote, no one here wears shoes, hopeless market. The other wrote, no one here wears shoes, limitless opportunity. Same land, same people, same reality. Yet one saw a dead end, the other saw a door. That's the quiet power of perspective. It can turn pain into purpose, endings into beginnings, problems into possibilities. Even in daily life, perspective defines our peace. When you see problems as permanent, they feel like mountains. When you remember everything passes, they become clouds. A child learning to walk falls many times, but never calls it failure. Falling is part of walking. What if we adults remembered that truth? We would rise faster and fall softer. Time changes how we see everything. The job that slipped away might guide you to your calling. The heartbreak that hurt you might teach you self-worth. The failure that stung might prepare you for success. If we stay open, pain becomes a teacher and perspective becomes peace. So when storms come, don't ask, why me? Ask, what's this teaching me? Don't say, it's over. Say, something new is beginning. The questions you ask shape your reality. Problems don't vanish, but perception lightens the load. A drop of water can drown or refresh you. The difference is how you see it. So pause, breathe. Remember, it's not the end, just a bend. Change how you look, and your world transforms. Because the real prison isn't the problem, it's your perception. The moment you shift it, you set yourself free. Always test your emotions, my friends. People will betray you, disappoint you, misunderstand you, but you cannot control their actions. You can only master your reaction. True strength lies not in never feeling anger, sadness, or fear. It lies in not letting those emotions drive your decisions. Feel deeply, but act wisely. When emotions rise, take a pause before you respond. Because sometimes silence heals more than words ever could. Life will constantly test your perspective. Someone will insult you and your ego will demand revenge. Someone will ignore you and your pride will crave attention. But wisdom whispers, you don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. Just because a storm rages outside doesn't mean you must let it inside your heart. Perspective means choosing peace over reaction, understanding over ego. There's a story of a monk and his disciple. One morning, they met a man shouting in anger. The disciple asked, Master, why do people yell when they're so close to each other? The monk smiled, because when hearts are distant, voices must be loud. The disciple then asked, and when hearts are close? The master replied, they whisper. You see, when our hearts are calm, our reactions shrink. But when ego rules, even small issues echo like thunder. Perspective allows you to see pain differently. When someone hurts you, it's easy to say, they ruined my peace. But if you shift your view, you may realize they revealed where your peace depends on others. Every person who tests you is secretly teaching you where you still need inner strength. Instead of saying, they betrayed me, try saying, they showed me what I must heal. Suddenly, the wound becomes wisdom. When emotions control perspective, your vision blurs. But when perspective controls emotion, your clarity returns. Imagine holding muddy water in a jar, shake it, and it becomes cloudy. Let it sit, and it clears. The same happens with the mind. In chaos, don't rush decisions. Let thoughts settle. Calmness gives clarity. Reacting fast often breaks what patience could heal. True perspective also means seeing beyond the moment. Pain feels unbearable when we think it's forever. But most storms pass, only lessons remain. When you rise above the emotion, you begin to see patterns, how every rejection redirected you, how every delay protected you, how every ending became a beginning. Life rarely goes wrong. It just goes differently from your plan to fulfill a higher one. So my friends, the next time your emotions surge, pause. Watch them, don't worship them. Ask yourself not, what happened, but what is this teaching me about myself? Because maturity isn't about controlling life, it's about controlling how you see life. And the moment you master perspective, the same world that once hurt you will begin to heal you. Pain, my dear friends, is not your enemy. It's your teacher in disguise. Every wound carries wisdom if you're willing to listen. But most of us rush to escape it. We numb, distract, complain, or hide. Yet the truth is this: the more you run from pain, the longer it chases you. The moment you turn around and face it with awareness, it begins to transform. Pain only stays when it's misunderstood. The moment you seek its lesson, it becomes light. A seed must crack open in darkness before it becomes a tree. Fire must melt gold before it shines. And the heart must break before it learns compassion. Pain refines what pride blinds. It strips away the unnecessary and shows us who we truly are. Sometimes God removes comfort not to punish us, but to prepare us. The pain you're avoiding today might be the very process shaping your strength tomorrow. There's a story of a butterfly struggling to emerge from its cocoon. A man, seeing its struggle, cut the cocoon open to help it. The butterfly came out, but its wings were weak, unable to fly. The struggle was necessary. It pushed the fluid into its wings to give them strength. Similarly, if life removed your struggles, you might never learn to soar. Every difficulty has a divine design. The world teaches us to chase pleasure and escape pain, but real growth is hidden in discomfort. Pain is the pressure that turns coal into diamond. It's the fire that purifies the gold of your soul. When you suffer consciously, with awareness, reflection, and acceptance, you evolve. When you suffer unconsciously, with resentment and blame, you stay stuck. The same event can make one person bitter and another better. The difference is perspective. Ask yourself when you're hurt, what is this pain trying to teach me? Maybe it's teaching patience, humility, forgiveness, or detachment. Maybe it's showing you that your happiness was too dependent on people or outcomes. Every heartbreak, every disappointment, every fall carries a hidden message. The wise don't ask, why me? They ask, what now? Remember, pain doesn't last forever, but the lessons it gives can last a lifetime. The storm always ends, but the calm it leaves behind becomes your inner strength. Look back at your life. You've survived everything you thought you wouldn't. You are proof that pain refines, not defines. So stop seeing pain as a punishment. Start seeing it as preparation. Because one day, when your wounds heal, you'll speak from experience and guide others through their darkness. Your pain becomes your purpose the moment it helps someone else find their light. And that, my friends, is the quiet miracle of perspective. What once broke you can, my dear friends, between every action and your reaction lies a sacred space, a pause. In that pause lives your peace, your wisdom, and your power. Life is full of moments that will test you. Someone will speak harshly, disappoint you, ignore you, or disrespect you. But remember, your strength is not measured by how loud you react, but by how calmly you respond. A reaction is emotion-driven. A response is awareness-driven. The difference between the two is the difference between chaos and clarity. When we react, we give away our control. When we respond, we take it back. Imagine someone throws a burning coal at you in anger. If you catch it to throw it back, who gets burned first? Reacting to negativity keeps you in the fire. Responding with calmness allows you to walk through flames without being scorched. That's not weakness, that's emotional mastery. It's choosing peace over pride, restraint over rage. There's a story of a monk who was insulted by a man in the market. The monk simply smiled. The man grew furious and shouted, "Don't you have anything to say?" The monk replied, "If someone offers you a gift and you don't accept it, who does it belong to?" The man stood silent. The monk said, "Then why should I accept your anger?" What a powerful reminder! You don't have to take every gift that's thrown at you, especially if it's wrapped in negativity. Reacting is instinct, responding is intelligence. Anyone can react, it takes no awareness. But to respond with balance requires strength of mind and maturity of heart. The person who can stay calm in provocation is not lifeless, they are powerful. They understand that emotions are like waves. If you don't chase them, they pass. The loudest person is rarely the strongest, the calmest usually is. Every conflict you face is an invitation to rise above impulsive emotions. When you pause before speaking, you give your higher self time to lead. That pause may save your peace, your relationships, and your dignity. Many people regret words spoken in anger, but no one regrets words left unsaid in wisdom. Sometimes silence speaks louder than shouting. Sometimes walking away shows greater strength than winning an argument. To respond wisely, you must first understand yourself. Notice what triggers you. Observe how your body tightens when anger rises. Awareness is the first step toward mastery. The moment you recognize the storm within, you can choose not to let it rule you. Instead of saying, "They made me angry," say, "I allowed anger to rise." This shift turns you from a victim into a victor. You can't always choose what happens, but you can always choose who you become through it. So the next time life provokes you, breathe. Step back. Don't rush to defend, attack, or prove. Let your silence speak of your strength. Because true power doesn't come from controlling others, it comes from controlling yourself. And when you learn to respond instead of react, you no longer live as a slave of emotion, but as a master of peace. My dear friends, our minds are like restless oceans, waves of thoughts constantly rising and crashing. Some are small ripples, others powerful storms. But the problem is not the thoughts themselves, it is how tightly we hold on to them. Overthinking is like trying to stop every wave with your hands. You end up exhausted and still drenched. Peace begins the moment you stop wrestling with every thought and start observing them instead. Have you ever noticed how a small worry grows when replayed in your mind? Like a tiny spark becoming a wildfire. You lie awake thinking, what if this goes wrong? What if that happens? And soon you've built an entire disaster in your imagination. Yet most of those fears never come true. Overthinking makes us live painful moments twice, once in the mind and once in reality. The mind becomes its own battlefield, and the noise inside becomes louder than the world outside. Let me share a story. A wise teacher once asked his students to carry a glass of water across the courtyard. Those who walked stiffly, terrified of spilling, trembled and spilled along the way. Those who walked calmly, step by step, reached easily. The teacher smiled and said, "Life's challenges are like this glass. When you carry them with tension, you create more trouble. But when you walk with calmness, balance follows." That is the art of detachment, not indifference, but calm focus. Overthinking keeps reopening wounds that were meant to heal. It's like scratching a cut again and again, wondering why it still hurts. Life's small problems could heal quickly, but we keep touching them with constant thought. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop bleeding over things you can't change. It means you act where you can and surrender where you can't. As the saying goes, if the problem can be solved, why worry? If it cannot, what use is worry? Imagine standing beside a flowing river. Leaves float by on the surface. You could spend all day trying to catch every leaf, or you could simply watch them pass. Thoughts are those leaves. Let them flow. Watch them drift away. That is detachment, to stay aware without getting entangled. When you cling to every thought, you drown in it. But when you let thoughts come and go like passing clouds, you remain the sky, vast, calm, unshaken. Detachment is not carelessness, it is clarity. It's saying, I will do what I can with love and leave the rest to life. When you detach from overthinking, your energy returns, your heart softens, and your peace returns. The mind will always create storms, but your awareness can calm them. Every time you notice your mind running wild, whisper gently to yourself, "This thought is not me. I am the sky, not the cloud." My friends, when you stop overthinking, you stop fighting with life. You begin to see things as they are, not as your fears imagine them to be. The moment you loosen your grip on unnecessary thoughts, peace finds its way back home to your heart. Because the mind may create storms, but the heart, when quiet, always knows the way back to calm waters. My dear friends, in a world that glorifies speed, fast results, fast success, fast everything, patience feels outdated. But real growth doesn't follow the clock, it follows nature's rhythm. Flowers don't bloom because we demand them to, and rivers don't rush to reach the ocean. Everything unfolds when the season is right. Patience is not passive waiting, it's peaceful trusting. It's doing your part with dedication, then allowing life to do the rest in its time. There's a story of two farmers. One planted seeds and checked them daily, digging the soil every few days to see if they had grown. The other farmer simply watered his field, waited, and trusted the process. The impatient one ended up destroying the roots before they could take hold. The patient one reaped a healthy harvest. The difference wasn't in the seed, it was in the patience. Many of us live like the first farmer. We pray, we work, and then we panic when results don't appear immediately. But impatience only disturbs what life is preparing quietly beneath the surface. Patience teaches us that delay is not denial. Some blessings take time to mature. Some lessons take time to reveal their meaning. Think of the caterpillar in its cocoon. It struggles in darkness, pressing against walls that seem to trap it. Yet those very struggles strengthen its wings. If you break the cocoon too soon, the butterfly will never fly. Likewise, when we try to escape every struggle, we rob ourselves of the strength those moments were meant to build. Impatience makes us suffer twice. Once because the result hasn't arrived, and once because we torment ourselves in waiting. But patience softens that pain. It carries us gently through uncertainty. When you're waiting for something, a healing, a breakthrough, a change, remember, the seed is sprouting underground even when you can't see it. Time is not your enemy, it's your silent ally. It's quietly shaping things for your good, even when your eyes see nothing. Imagine waiting at a red light. You can honk, complain, and get frustrated, but the light won't turn green any faster. All that changes is your peace. But if you simply wait, the light changes naturally, and you move forward calmly. Life works the same way. When you surrender to timing instead of fighting it, you move with the flow instead of against it. Patience is strength under control. It's courage in slow motion. It's the ability to keep faith when results are invisible. To wait with grace instead of anxiety is not weakness, it's mastery. It's understanding that everything meaningful, love, growth, wisdom, healing, takes time. And the most beautiful souls are not the ones who rushed through life, but the ones who waited, trusted, and bloomed when it was their season to bloom. So my friends, when life feels slow, whisper to yourself, this too shall pass. Keep doing your part, keep showing up, keep believing, because patience doesn't stop you from moving forward. It allows you to move forward with peace, not panic. The river doesn't hurry, yet it reaches the ocean. In the same way, when you live patiently, you too will arrive where you're meant to be, right on time. My dear friends, mental strength is not about never breaking down. It's about learning how to rise every time you fall. It's not the absence of pain, but the presence of purpose. True strength comes when you stop fighting life and start flowing with it. When you respond with calmness, detach from unnecessary worries. Trust the timing of your growth and anchor yourself in values that no storm can shake. Every challenge you face is not there to defeat you, but to deepen you. So when life tests you, don't say, why me? Say, try me. Because every wave that tried to drown you was secretly teaching you how to swim. And when you learn to swim through life's storms with grace, my friends, you don't just survive, you shine.